So it says you also speak Japanese?
Yes, I can speak Japanese.
Oh.
I spent some time in Japan.
Okay.
And my wife is Japanese.
Okay. Good incentive to learn.
That's right. Hey everybody, welcome back to another self-driving video. Today is a special edition. I am doing a rideshare with a passenger here in my car, and I'm going to see if self-driving can take her smoothly all the way from her pickup location to her final destination. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do me a huge favor. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. I've been stuck at 6,000 and it makes me feel horrible. I put a lot of time into my channel. I'm talking 10 to 15 hours, if not more, every single week. I have a full-time job and 3 kids, and your support goes a real long way. Seriously, guys, it helps me out tremendously if you please subscribe. The vast majority of my viewers are not subscribed. I hate to beg this of you, but I'm really trying to grow my channel and improve my content, so help a brother out. We're going to see how well this software does here today. There is a very fascinating experience that I witnessed here with the passenger, and I have a little quiz for you. We're going to see if you guys can get the answer correct. I think a lot of people that are using this software will be able to relate to this issue, so please stay tuned to see what happens here. I find this technology absolutely fascinating. Most people have no idea. Unfortunately, I didn't get this clip on film, but I had another rideshare experience with a gentleman who had retired from Motorola, and he asked me a question as soon as he got in my car and figured out it was driving itself. First of all, he was blown away. He had no idea that the car could do everything it was doing, but he asked this question. He said, "What car is this?" And I said, "Oh, I'm driving a 2019 Model 3. And then he paused and he was like, "Okay, Model 3. And then he, without trying to sound stupid, he said, "What brand is this car?" And I said, "Oh, it's a Tesla." He's like, "Oh, okay. I didn't know Tesla could do this." And I answered him. I said, "Yeah, you know, it's been able to drive on the highway with autopilot and navigate on autopilot. But this self-driving is next level. It can drive anywhere, everywhere. You just turn it on and it takes you there." And he was floored. He was grabbing his camera. He said, "I got to tell all my friends. I got to tell my wife when I get home. This is insane." So it's really testament to the fact that I, as well as a lot of other Tesla enthusiasts, live in somewhat of a bubble. Outside of that bubble, the vast majority of people have no idea what's going on. Now, what's important to recognize is that this technology is going to save lives. This technology is improving rapidly. Supposedly 12.4 is 5 to 10 times better in regard to miles per intervention. However, that has not been my experience, unfortunately. I just have to say it like it is. I'm witnessing the same amount of disengagements and interventions as I was with previous versions. Now, I wish I could say differently, but overall, I am very, very optimistic about this software, and I believe that overnight it's going to get insanely good. And the reason I say that is because the compute power is increasing, the video data is increasing. It's just a matter of time until it can process things well enough that it exceeds human ability. And that day is coming a lot sooner than I think most people realize. I think you will enjoy this drive. All right, we got a 10-minute drive here.
Okay.
So this car has the full self-driving, which is an add-on package, which basically does everything on its own.
Wow.
It's quite amazing.
I need a car like that.
So I'm going to turn it on. You're going to see here the light is red. It's going to recognize that.
Okay.
And then it's going to turn left here.
All on its own. Wow.
All on its own. Yeah, you can see it has 8 cameras. You can see all the cars it's displaying there. And it's pretty neat how it works. Sometimes the turn signal goes on. I'm kind of surprised it's not on right now. But we are going left here. Your time is very important, so I'm speeding up a lot of sections where there's not a ton of stuff going on. You can see here the light turns green. My car is telling me to pay attention to the road. One nice thing with 12.4, and this is 12.4.1, everyone else is probably going to get 12.4.2 or 12.4.3, is that when that blue flashing bar flashes up at the top and it asks you to pay attention, all you have to do is look forward. You no longer need to touch on the steering wheel. That is a big deal. I mean, right here again, it's saying pay attention to the road. I just look up. You saw my chin go up. As soon as you do that, it goes away. Now, I had to go in and turn the toggle off for avoid tolls so that the route would match up with what my Rideshare app is showing me. And here I'm just making a minor adjustment to my rear view mirror, and we're getting in the left turn lane to get onto this highway. Now at this point, I'm wondering to myself, is it going to be able to merge correctly? So I have a quick little discussion with my passenger about that. So what's really interesting is you'll see once it gets on the highway here, it's going to merge. And in previous versions of this software, it would wait until the last second to merge.
Okay.
But this latest version, which is 12.4.1, which is kind of crazy that I remember that, it will turn on its turn signal early and then make its way over. So we just take a look at our path here. It looks like we might not even need to get over because we're going to be going straight onto, is that I-90? Or 390. So it might not even have us merge because we're doing a quick right around. So we'll see what it does. It's nice that the weather is warmer, isn't it?
Yes. I'm not a winter fan.
Me neither. So here it goes through that light really, really well. You can see this left lane is running out. It's asking, or it's telling the drivers to merge to the right, but this was smooth enough that it just kind of centered itself naturally as it was. At this point, I realized that this road is really not going to merge onto the highway. It's basically going to be a single lane going straight all the way. So I don't have to worry about it merging at all, which is great because I'm still 50-50 at this point whether it can do it or not. Yep, sure enough, we don't need to merge.
Okay.
So nice and easy. So it goes straight here. You can see the sign saying that this is the exit lane to get onto the other freeway. And this is a very typical drive. You can see it's asking me quite a few times. Oh no, it's saying choosing right fork to stay on route. I have, as I'm doing this voiceover, I have the screen extremely minimized. But I hope you guys can appreciate this content. Again, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really goes a long way. Coming here now, we're heading west and going now toward the sun, but thankfully the sun isn't too much in the way. This is where things get interesting. So as I proceed forward, you're going to see here this lane is going to be merging, and this is the dreaded experience that I really don't want to repeat. And now that I know that 12.4.1 still has this issue, I will be taking extra caution to prevent it from doing this. It's just safer and easier to merge manually right now until they get this fixed. You can see up above it says right lane ends in a quarter mile. So that's the first indicator that we do have a merge coming up. Now, as of today, full self-driving cannot read these signs. Right lane ends in 1,000 feet. There was yet again another sign indicating that a merge is coming up. Now we have right here a car on the left, right in our way. My face is turned. I recognize them. And then look, it says here it's merging. It's telling that I need to merge onto this highway. Now, as I come up, you would expect that they would have moved over. They had all of those lanes to move over, so they were kind of being a jerk in not allowing me any space, but they could have been distracted. And I love this. It says, be attentive, keep your hands on the wheel, be prepared to take over anytime. Well, yeah. So the passenger, what do you think she says? Do you think she's going to say what happened there? You think she's going to say crazy drivers, or that didn't work too well? This is a poll. Which one do you think she says here?
Crazy drivers.
I know, right? I had to bite my tongue to not say anything there when it went through that scenario. It was very uncomfortable for me, and my instinct is to immediately react and make a comment about that, especially since I told her already that merging has been fixed. I felt obliged to say, well, I guess it's not fixed. But like I said, I held my tongue, and she didn't really think much of it, which is surprising to me. Now, I actually ended up getting a tip from her. I report that, by the way, right there. I hit the camera button. So that is a icon that I have, some of the early testers have, to be able to send feedback over to Tesla. Now, if you are ever driving and you want to capture video footage of an event, I made the mistake early on of pressing the record button and then missing the footage. So a little bit of a delay really helps because it goes back 30 seconds and there's a little bit of a delay before you can it actually captures what just immediately happened. So I always wait a little bit. So here we're getting off of the freeway and we're turning left. I'm very pleased that it's in the right-left turn lane. And you'll see in a lot of my videos here in the northwest suburbs, you'll see a lot of Teslas. There's I think, Model Y on the left. Yet again, I'm speeding up this intersection. Not too much going on here. The light turns green, and we proceed through this intersection. And it actually, even with the sun there, it actually does a really nice job staying in its lane and not interrupting anything. Now there, it kind of went in the middle. You could see it could have done a little bit better, I suppose, getting all the way to the right, but it felt natural. I think a human would have done the same, if not driven worse through that turn there. Overall, no complaints with that turn, but that merging, my goodness, I'm really curious to hear what you guys thought of that. I threw that small clip up on X, and the post blew up. Everybody, I think, is familiar with that. I'm going to call it a bug, that issue, and it's just not appropriate. But I asked people, who made the mistake? Was it the other driver or was it me? And the fact of the matter is, we both made a mistake. But for an automated software, it really needs to handle that, because you can't obviously rely on the driver once it's fully automated to take over in those situations. So it really needs to either slow down or speed up considerably to get past that other driver. Now, other people had commented that other driver was being a jerk. They were doing it on purpose. Maybe they hate Teslas. I don't know. But I didn't think into it like that at all in the moment. So here we are arriving at our final destination for me to drop this kind lady off, and then I'm going to leave a little bit of kind of dialogue at the end to close out this clip. And then there is one other rideshare that I really am looking forward to sharing with you here as well. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. So as you could observe, she really didn't want to have any conversation around the self-driving, which is completely fine. I leave it up to my passengers. There was that awkward merge. It actually did the zipper merge. It ran out of runway, and then the other car was right there, and my car would have hit it. That's still an issue, unfortunately, and that would have been a collision. And now the the camera probably didn't pick up on the car being right there, but they were literally right next to me. In the lane, if you've ever driven a Tesla, you'll know that it tries to follow the lines on the road. It's kind of like a magnet almost. And you can, if you drift, it will push itself into the lane. It'll stay in the markings, and that's exactly what it tried to do. But unfortunately, there was another car right there, and it would have sideswiped them. So I had to disengage, and it was safer to jerk the steering wheel. Unfortunately, it was a little bit uncomfortable probably for her. I didn't say anything because I didn't want her to, first of all, leave me a bad review. Secondly, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I took over. I'm in control. I'm driving, right? It would have been a little bit smoother had I stepped on the brake to disengage. I did hit the camera button to report that, and it's really, quite honestly, disappointing to me that Tesla still hasn't resolved that. It should know to merge much earlier. In all the other times that I've tested this, it would merge and turn on the turn signal, but that proved right there. And that's another thing, that if you're watching a lot of videos on 12.4.1, it's very easy for people to jump to conclusions on stuff, even those that have been testing for a long time. I think I said at some point that merging has been solved with 12.4.1, and that was after driving 3 times where it successfully merged. But now I'm not so sure that it's been solved. So this is where you really need to drive at least, half dozen to a dozen times to really draw a conclusion. So I would just caution everybody that when the new version comes out, if you're watching videos, which I know they're very popular, I also rush to go post a video, first impressions video. You really have to take them with a grain of salt, because people are going to say things that are not true, myself included. I'm to blame as well, but just be aware of that. She said crazy drivers, and she obviously wasn't paying attention, and she's never been in a car with FSD, so she had no idea, even though I told her that merging was a problem in the past and that it's been solved with this version. She just evidently wasn't paying attention, so she thought the other driver was at fault and not me. So that's good, I guess, for me, but still not good for Tesla. So I really hope they see that footage and that they can review it and improve in the future. Overall, I would give that drive a 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10, but certainly not a 9 or 10. No way. I'm going to wait around for one more drive, and we'll see how well it does here. All right, here is Rideshare number 2. Again, I am completely in control. Don't freak out. This is not violating any terms and conditions or anything. I'm driving the car. Okay, we've got a small infant. This may not be the best time to test or use full self-driving. We'll see. I'm on the fence a little bit. Hi. Yes. Okay, so we go ahead and get started here. I turn it on from within this parking lot and it proceeds forward. It's always a toss-up whenever you're in a parking lot or an unknown area that's not a road, whether or not it can exit that area correctly. You could see the blue flashing bar at the top asking me to pay attention, even though I was paying full attention. Sometimes it will do that where it thinks you're not, and you really are. So for me, just tilting my head up a little bit more helps to make that go away. You can see me proactively doing that right now. chin up, making sure that the camera can see your eyes really helps. So we're getting outside of this area and then we're heading up to a traffic light. Turns out this lady is heading over to a supermarket, and I don't know that. The Rideshare app tells me that I need to take her to this specific address, and I dial that address in, and it turns out that the route is not matching exactly what the Rideshare app is showing me. So we have a discrepancy between the Google Maps, which is the engine that's running on the Tesla, and what the Rideshare app is telling me. So again, it's telling me to pay attention to the road. I am doing my best to make sure that it is aware that I am paying attention. And it's irritating sometimes because it really doesn't fully understand that you are paying attention. And sometimes when you're looking around and being a very safe driver, it misinterprets that as you not paying attention. So this happens repeatedly, sometimes more often when the sun is setting or when the sun is rising. So just be aware of that. Obviously, if you're wearing sunglasses or if the visor is blocking your eyes, you are going to have to touch the steering wheel for sure. But throughout this entire drive, I don't touch the wheel at all. Now, I'm debating, this lady is not really paying attention. She's using her phone. I'm debating whether I should even have a conversation with her. And to be completely honest, I don't even know if she can speak English. So after sitting here at this light, I think, okay, well, she might be interested to know that the car is going to just take off and do everything on its own when the light turns green. So I do decide to mention something to her here. So this has the self-driving software. So it can see the light is red. As soon as the light turns green, it will go automatically. So no hands. And she has no comment and just goes straight back to using her phone. So I really don't know that she understands English, which is fine. That I don't need conversation. Now you can see this car takes off, and these cars in front of me, they have their left turn signal on. That first one was very clear. Second one, okay, they were a bit quick. Now if someone was behind me, they would have probably been impatient, knowing that I could have gone much earlier, because their left turn signal was on for quite a while, and I easily could have taken advantage right there because they delayed. So I do report that. I hit the camera icon there at the top and send a snapshot over to the Tesla team, so hopefully they get that feedback. And there again, pay attention to the road, chin up, eyes open, to make sure that it knows. And this is, it's just a new way of driving, and you have to get used to. You can see my head just kind of really, the posture with my head is just really, this I'll be honest with you, this does get old a little bit, because it's like, okay, I am paying attention. So I still don't know what's better, putting sunglasses on and touching the wheel, or constantly having to tilt your head up. Sometimes it's not super sensitive. Again, I think it has to do with the time of day. It's really hard to know exactly where to place your head, but you can see right now I'm looking at the screen, and right there I get the message. So it's super sensitive, and I think most people would realize that. I don't think they made any drastic changes to the monitoring system. Nothing that I've observed that makes it different from 12.3.6 or previous versions. It's just that, the minute you get it, you do have to, there again, it's please pay attention to the road. So it really doesn't like you looking away. And this is, you can observe just kind of my behavior. I'm looking at the screen quite a bit here to understand the directions, because it's not matching up with the Rideshare app. So I force a pin in place to get it to turn left here, and it was just in time. And I don't know, sometimes my passengers are monitoring the app on their phone to make sure I'm taking the correct route. Other times they don't really care. So often the car nav will be different from the rideshare nav, and I'm okay with that because the time required to get there is the same. But in this case, it was having me go around in a weird way. And you can see once I come into this parking lot, I still don't know exactly where this lady is going, but it jogs right here, and it really should have kept going straight. She didn't say anything, but you can see it comes here and then it immediately turns left. So it's going through this area, and I'm like, okay, it doesn't need to do this because you can see, well, maybe it's hard to see, but in the upper right, it is coming out of this area. So I just take over, I disengage at this point, and drive manually to get it to where it needs to go. And I'm looking at the Rideshare app at this point and not really the Tesla nav, because now I realize, oh, she's going to the supermarket. And from here, it's just, you know, manually getting her there. Now, had I known it was the Tony's supermarket, I would have put that in as the destination, and everything would have been fine. It would have taken me right to this front door. But that's one of the things that you just don't know sometimes with these rideshare apps. So I just killed a small little fly on my windshield. But we are here, and I'm pulling up manually to the stop sign and pulling over to the right side of the road, usually pretty quiet in these parking lots. And then she gets out of the car, and I run through a quick summary. We arrived safely, and there were no issues except for that left turn coming out onto the main road. The full self-driving software should have recognized those cars were turning left and that I did not need to yield to them. So I did report that. If somebody had been behind me, they would have honked at me. Someone would have been very, frustrated. Why isn't this guy going? So that was a situation where I let it do its thing because I knew that it was going to be safe and everything was going to work out. And mainly I let it do its thing because nobody was behind me. And that's still to this day the biggest, I don't know if I would call it an issue, but the biggest uncomfortable point with full self-driving is having people behind you. The car is always super safe, and it generally gets to where you need to go just fine. I'd say 99% of the time. Merging is still an issue every so often. Lane selection is an issue. And as you saw there, if someone had been behind us, there would have been definitely an intervention. Is this version 5 to 10 times better in terms of miles per intervention? No, definitely not. And for that, I'm very disappointed that Elon lied. Another lie. I don't know why, but I always give politicians a bunch of crap when they lie. And it's frustrating. That's why I could never go into politics. But to have Elon lie so much all the time is irritating. I don't want to say frustrating, but definitely irritating. Because I'm a believer. I mean, come on, man. Give it to us straight. I understand you've got goals. I understand you've got ambition. That's great. But just don't lie. Please don't lie to the public. It doesn't do anybody any good. All right, I'm going to step down off of my pedestal here and carry on with my evening. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Yet again, if you're not subscribed, please consider doing it. It really goes a long way towards supporting me. If you enjoy my videos, share the video, hit the like button, and leave a comment. See you guys.